the Igbos were highly influenced by the European powers. You have to understand, even though the Europeans have been coming to Africa, to West Africa, back in the 16th and 15th centuries, they have not ventured into mainland Igbo land. The first Europeans, as we understand, were the ones who came in 1830, in the 19th century. So the Igbos had an encounter with these strange people. Now you have to understand, when the Europeans came, one of the things they wanted to do was to westernize the people which they encountered in this part of Africa. And the Igbos posed a lot of challenges for the Europeans. Why? Because the Igbos had an established way of ruling itself. If you study the book of Old Testament, you understand how the people were conducting themselves. So the Igbos had elders who had kingsmen who ruled over them, and then the chiefs who governed the people, basically. So the Europeans didn't understand this kind of leadership among the people. But they wanted to have an established way to be able to manage their colonial territories. And the Igbos fell victim to this idea of government, which they were not previously used to. So there was a lot of power struggle with this development of the Europeans. And then the Europeans later overcame the Igbos, and the Igbos swallowed westernization and now become overly westernized. This is one of the things that I always find to be a problem. It seems that the people have forgotten who they are. They are looking to become Europeans now, which is not helping their cause. If you do not know who you are, people will define you by who you are not. It is important that any person, whether you're westernized or not, being Igbo, you have to understand what does it mean to be Igbo, and where did the word Igbo come from, and who you are as a person. I do talk a lot of Igbos, those who are very educated. They have an idea, but to them this heritage is not something that they put on the forefront, because they are looking to westernize themselves. So the call also becomes, know your people, know who you are. For identity question, you need to understand and know who you are, so you are able to conduct yourself in the right manner, dealing with others. Okay? So there was a meeting, a visit from the Israelis into West Africa to visit the Igbo land. They came to Aguleri, which is in Anambra State, and they wanted to investigate more to find out what the Igbos have left, being a family of the Israelites. So they went to Aguleri, and they discovered the oil stone which Jacob gave to his son Gad. Remember when I said Eri is a son of Gad, okay? So Eri gave the stone to his son Eri. So Gad gave the stone which his father Jacob gave to him, to his own son Eri. This is also how we are able to confirm that this Eri is the same Eri which is in the book of Genesis 46 verse 16. So the Igbos, even though they don't have library, the Bible is your library. So when you want to define who the Igbos are, you have to go where again? To the Bible, because they are the people of the Bible. The Bible were written by ancient Igbos. It is important to understand that. So in order to find Igbo history, where do we go?
Bible.
To the Bible. Thank you very much. To the Bible. Thank you. And I don't know if you know this, many Igbos probably don't know this. The penny in the time of Biafra had the Star of David behind it. And one of the reasons why the Star of David was put behind the old penny was because they found the Star of David in Igbo land, in bronze. So they dug this up, and then they found, wow, they still have artifacts from ancient land of Israel. You have to understand, the knowledge of Igbos being Hebrews, it is not a thing that is hidden. It is a thing that has been known throughout history. Only it has not been talked about. Nobody refers to it. It's a bit of a hiding. They put a veil over But the people are angry and they know it. Many Igbos I speak to today, yes, they know it. They say, yes, of course we know this. But why aren't you sharing this heritage with other people? So that kind of brings the dilemma. Why are you able, you're not sharing it? And they ask me, why must we share this? Why is it important that we share it? I said, because if you do not share your history, others will steal your history and claim it to be theirs and give it to their children. This is one of the problems we have today. People don't even know who is Hebrew and who is not. Because people now are hijacking Igbo history and claiming it that it is their own and causing what? A lot more confusion. So in 1917, they discovered the Star of David, so they put that star behind the Igbo penny, so the people can also be proud of having the Star of David in their coin, in the old money they used back in the time of Biafra. Okay. So between 1938, they found a lot more great artifacts in Igbo of bronze. I'll put it up on the slide so you can see it. So they knew these people must have come from a richer culture. Yes, although they are not looking so rich today, but they came from ancient Israel, from ancient power of the past. So you have to understand the Igbos were the same people as the Hebrew Israelites. So they came from a kingdom which God himself defined, and the people God himself raised as a nation. This is why you will never be able to understand God's relationship with the Israelite unless you are from that tribe. It is important because there is an intimate relationship. Even though you know about God and about Israelite, you will still not be able to understand the nature of this relationship and why God will scatter his people, because they broke that intimate covenant which they had with him, that they will not serve any other God, they will be his people and he will be their God. And this is why the people were scattered, because God had to judge this very sin. God will not judge America on the same stance that he will judge the Hebrew Israelite. Why? Because God does not have this kind of covenant with America. God will not judge England by the same covenant, because he did not have this covenant with English people. But with Igbo people, he had this covenant. So he's able to judge them, bring them back to Egypt in ships. Egypt meaning slavery. As Moses foretold in Deuteronomy 28, you can read the whole chapter, you will be startled at how accurate that chapter predicted the future of the Igbo people. Igbos were one of the most sold tribes in the slave trade. During the transatlantic slave trade, the Igbos were in high demand. So now we know there's a lot of Igbo kingdoms based in Jamaica, Haiti, United States of America, are mostly Igbos. When I hear some of these names, the African Americans, they call themselves, they have Igbo-ness, but they don't even know it. And I know what that name means, but they have changed it. They put a Y or take out a J, but it's still Igbo name, and I know what it means, like Ike, and some names like this. Every Igbo name has a meaning. Why? Because if you look at the Bible, people name their children according to events or something that happened in the family or their fathers. So all the Igbo names have meanings. Igbos don't just give name for name's sake. My name is Elo, which means ideal, God's ideal. So every Igbo name has a meaning. What you need to understand is then find out what the name means from the person who bear the name, or what the parents who gave the person the name. Because most of the time, these modern day Igbos don't even know what their name means. Okay? So I'm going to talk about the map of Biafra here. I want to show you something very quickly. You're going to see that Biafra is much bigger than what it is today. And the people called Bani Ephraim. They came from Ephraim. So if you study the map, you're going to see what the map was before it was changed. I remember I told you about about in the Berlin Conference, when the Europeans changed the name of the nature of Africa as we know it today. So the names of the country were renamed, the people were renamed, they called up territories and divided the people. Okay? Berlin Conference. Look that up on your own. I don't get into that right now, but just know that it existed. And if you look at Igbo names, their town names are Hebrew names, like Edom. It's a Hebrew word. Abba is Hebrew word. A lot of Igbo towns are named after the Hebrew fathers who found these towns. And their family will refer to themselves as Omo Etem, which means sons of Etem. Omo Eri, sons of Eri. Omo Arodi, sons of Arodi. Or Arodi Izob. For example, Omo Ago Atai. These are Hebrew words. And they still the same name in these towns today. So this is an old Igbo town. You see here at the bottom you have the Bight of Biafra at the bottom. So the whole curve is called Bight of Biafra. Today it's called Bight of Benin. And then you move upward, you're going to see the Igbo town, Uvet, Owi, Oban, Ebeb, Ekuri, before the name became changed. So, okay, something I want to be able to point out to you today is something I picked up from the book that Olu Uda Ikwaran wrote, the bestseller of 1789. In his book, Oluda explained that even in the 18th centuries, that Igbos were keeping to the Torah. Oluda explained in his book, he said the people were circumcised people, the women are kept separately when they are having their time of the month. They do not touch dead bodies. Okay? And they eat feasts before the full moon. 2 feasts before the full moon. Understand Leviticus here. Okay? So even though Oluda, when he got the Bible, he did not know it was about Igbo people. Why? Because he did not say Igbo in the Bible. He said Israelite. He said Hebrew people. Because of the corruption in the translation. Had he said Igbo or Igbo, he would know these are his people. Understand that. Again, the Israelites did not refer to themselves as Israelites or Hebrews. These are modern terms borrowed by the British from the Latin translation of ancient scriptures. It is important to keep that in mind. So when you look for Israelite, do not look for the word Israel. Look for the word Ebo or Ebo people. These are the people, or the people from the land of Canaan. In Africa, they are scattered all over the continent. And they still know that they came from the land of Canaan, down to Egypt and scattered. You should look for a book called by Rudolph Windsor. He explained how the migration transpired. Very accurate book. When I saw that book, I knew it corresponded with the African history itself, which we have from the Sultan. So this book is a good read for those of you who are looking to find, do some more research, become aware of the truth. That's a good way to start. Very brilliant researcher, a scholar, Rudolph Windsor. Okay, so the Igbos also practice libation. If you recall in the book of Isaiah 31, those who pour, drink libation and make covenant not by my counsel, saith the Most High. These are also today still Igbo tradition. I recall one time I came back from Europe, from Holland, and I bought my father an expensive drink, and I gave it to him because it was strong alcohol, The first thing my father did was he opened the drink and he poured it on the ground and give thanks and give also thumbs up to his ancestors. This is where that culture came from libation, wine offering, they call it. If you look also in the book of Leviticus, it's also mentioned there, and the Igbos are still doing that till there. Even Iriji, this is Iwaji, is also a fruit offering and fruit festival of the Igbos, which they are still doing till this day. Okay? A document by Muhammad Bello Sultan. Muhammad Bello is the second Sultan of Sokoto. In 1817, he explained how the people from Yoruba are coming to Africa and living among themselves, among Africans, small tribes of themselves. So you're going to have a lot of Hebrew families scattered all over Africa. The Sultan knew this. So he's explaining that these people came from the land of Canaan. Again, he's using the word the land of Canaan because the people of ancient Israelite were called those from the land of Canaan, not Israelite, children from the land of Canaan. So they left their tribe of men in the Sudan. So those in Sudan have Ewe living among them. Okay? And then went into West Africa where the Niger area is, which is today called Nigeria. So the Sultan is explaining historically, and the Sultan is a Muslim. So he had not read the Torah nor the Bible, because there's no way he would have known this except by oral tradition, those he was told by the people themselves. He's the first-hand eyewitness of this account. Important. These are old African documents, and it's also written also in the narrative of travel in the North and Central Africa on page 165. I will put that up in the slide here so you can see it. So you have to understand there is a lot of information about this migration. It is not a history that happened overnight. The Israelites ruled Africa for hundreds and hundreds of years. All the powers of Africa, Timbuktu, the tribe of Judah in West Africa, Asante. These are ancient Israelite families. They were powerful people. This history is there, but nobody talks about it. Now they're telling you we don't know where the Israelites are. If you do not talk about your history, others will steal it as their own. Remember that. Okay? Just run this up quickly. So I will put up the slides up on the internet. You can look up the references, and then you can study it. A narrative of travel in the North and Central Africa. A very good document. So among the Igbos, the Obugad is still there till this day. You can visit. So if you go to Nigeria, you want to go see Obugad, it is still there. It's not much. It's not a touristic decorated, but it's still a good place to visit because of its ancient heritage. The Igbos also held this place dear to their heart because they view it as one of the holiest places among the Igbo land, because Obugad is a temple that was dedicated to God by his son Eri. Okay, so these places are still there today. The people know who their father is. They don't need CNN or Fox News for that information. They know who their father is. They know who they are. If you are Igbo and you don't know that you are Hebrew, you don't know that you are Igbo or Ivri, then your father did not tell you. But all Igbos are descendant from the sons of Jacob. Please, we welcome your suggestions online. Any comment, please send them to us. We'll be able to process information and get back to you accordingly. As I've said before, allow us some time to get back to you because we have a very small team. But we'll surely try to get back to you, hopefully not too late. Okay? On time. All right? Thank you very much for your time today, and I bid you shalom. God bless.